All right, how are y'all doing today? We got to do that one more time. How are we doing today? Yay! I'm so excited. You made it. You found the room. You're here. I am thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be speaking all about Facebook. I'm thrilled to be speaking at the National Association of Realtors convention again. I'm Katie Lance. I'm the founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting and the Get Social Smart Academy. I'm author of the book Get Social Smart. And I was trying to think how many times I've spoken at NAR. Somewhere between 10, 11, 12, I don't know, many times. And so I'm very honored to be back. I'm excited to see some familiar faces, some new faces, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna talk all about Facebook, which it's funny. I was chatting with a few folks about this recently. You know, if you follow me on social media or if we're connected in some way, you know that I do a lot of training on social media strategy, Instagram, ChatGPT. That's kind of the buzz that everyone's chatting about today. And I'm like, gosh, I have not talked about Facebook in some time. And so I'm very excited about this session because Facebook is not dead. That's the good news. And there are a lot of opportunities when it comes to Facebook. How many of you have a Facebook personal profile? Raise your hand. How about a Facebook business page? How many of you are on Facebook right now? Okay, a couple of you. That's good. That's good. So there's a lot to talk about. Facebook is really a lot different than it was just a few years ago, and so we're going to kind of break through a lot of some myths and really give you some great tips and tools and takeaways that you can implement immediately into your business. Sound good? All right. Awesome. So before we get started, I want to first pull up, and I thought, this is a little bit ironic that I'm putting a QR code up here to my Instagram, although we're talking about Facebook. But let me bring it full circle. You know that Facebook is now owned by Meta. Meta owns a number of different companies. And as I said, I often speak a lot on Instagram as well as Facebook. And Instagram and Facebook have a very symbiotic relationship. So if you're active, how many of you are also active on Instagram? Raise your hand. Okay, awesome. So you know what to do the QR code. After COVID, we all know what to do the QR code. Take out your phone, scan it. By the way, does anybody love how QR codes made a comeback? Right? Remember when everyone used a QR code, and then we didn't want to use QR codes, right? And now they're back, which is great. So scan that. And your homework today, as we're going through my presentation, if you hear a nugget, if you hear an aha, take out your phone, post a picture, post it to your story, your feed, on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're spending time, and tag me. One of my favorite things to do after an event is to hop online and connect with you and hear your takeaways and see your aha moments. Sound good? All right, so at the heart of what we're going to talk about today is strategy. Because when it comes to anything with social media, but especially Facebook, without a strategy, you're just throwing something against the wall and hoping it sticks. It's let's try this out strategy that isn't really a strategy. And the truth of the matter is, like I said, Facebook has changed a lot, right? Back in the day, you could post something, you'd get a lot of interaction, a lot of likes, comments. You wouldn't have to do, really as much work. And nowadays, you scroll through Facebook and you see maybe your mom or your cousin or someone you haven't seen for 10 years, wedged between 27 different ads, lots of sponsored posts. You post something and you get 1 like, 2 likes. One of them is your mom or your best friend. And so having a strategy, I think, is so important. And when it comes to Facebook, the numbers don't lie. There's nearly 3 billion active monthly users on Facebook. Where I think there's a huge opportunity for agents and brokers when it comes to Facebook or in some of the different nuances with Facebook. So when I asked how many of you have a personal profile, just about all of you raised your hand. Same thing with a business page. Most of you probably have both. And still in 2023, the number one question I still get asked is, do I need both? Do I need a personal profile and a business page? And the answer is still yes. And part of that is because of how Facebook works and how Meta works. And what's interesting is if you ask me that about Instagram, I would probably say no. I really think with Instagram, you probably only need one account. I have just one account, and I post some stuff business and some stuff that's personal. But although Meta owns both, Facebook's different. And where there's an opportunity for both your personal profile, groups, business pages, is that your personal profile is where it's not necessarily the place to post all about your listings or to talk about every new buyer or seller you work with, but where the personal profile, I think, really shines and has always shined is in the relationship building part of Facebook. See, relationships are built with small, tiny interactions over the course of time. Every like, every comment, every share, it adds up. It's just like in real life when you meet someone for the first time and then you run into them at the grocery store and then you connect with them on social media and then you see them again at the Little League game. You build these small relationships. And so when people say, what do I use my personal profile for when it comes to Facebook? I say, be a noticer. Notice what's happening in your community. I have 2 boys, 13 and 16, 2 teenagers. Please pray for me. And I always tell my 2 boys, be a noticer in the world. Look up, right? Look up and see what's going on. And I will say the same thing with your Facebook feed. One of the best things you can do on Facebook right now in 2023 is not spend a ton of money on ads. And if Facebook ads are working for you, that's awesome. But gone are the days of just spending $5 to boost something, and it's like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Those of you who are doing Facebook ads know you have to spend a lot of money, time, strategy. I would rather take that time and invest it in liking, commenting, interacting, building relationships. You see it's someone's birthday on Facebook. You could be one of the 50 people that writes on their page, HBD, happy birthday. Or you could be one of the only people that calls them that day or messages them or reaches out. So that relationship building piece I think is huge. Real estate's all about relationships, right? The other part of Facebook, of course, are the business pages, right? Where you are going to talk about your listings and your testimonials, and you're going to put your videos, and you might do Facebook Lives. And where I see the importance of a business page, especially in 2023, is it's similar to a website. You still need your website, don't get me wrong, but when I'm Googling you and I'm coming across to see your different pages to make sure you're a professional and make sure you're still in business, and I go to your Facebook business page, if the last time you updated your Facebook business page was 2 weeks ago, a month ago, or if I can see it's just sort of this automatic feed, it kind of feels like the lights are on but nobody's home, right? And trust me, people may not interact with your Facebook business page, but they're checking it out. The same way people Google you, they go to your website, they may not hit that contact form, but they're doing their research, right? So we're gonna kind of dig through some of those nuances. One of the first things I think is so important, especially in 2023, is don't be a secret agent. So wherever people find you, whether it's your personal profile, your business page, I think it goes without saying, but we want to be really clear that you're a realtor, that you're the business of real estate, and what market area you're in, what brokerage you're with. I'm always amazed so often I'll try to find someone's Facebook page, and I can't even tell that they're in real estate, especially if you have a very common name. We want to make it very clear. And oftentimes with Facebook, you set up your profile or your page a decade ago. So if you haven't done a little self-audit recently, do that. Go to your page and go to that little about section. And what's nice about it, especially in your personal profile, is you can edit each section. So you may not want each part of your bio to be open to the public, but at least have your contact information, your website, your email, the fact you're in real estate, what brokerage you're with, your job title, other social media links as well. So personal profile as well as business page. When it comes to your personal profile, there's a few ways we want to think about optimizing your personal profile. So I've got 4 things I want to kind of chat about here. Number 1, I still think Facebook is a great place to connect with your clients, prospects, and other agents. I'm often asked, hey, Katie, should I connect with other agents on Facebook? I don't really want them to see what I'm posting. I'm like, what are you posting? Oh my goodness. Here's the good news. They're not you. They're not you. Right? And I'll be honest with you, in a lot of the agents and brokers that we work with, we have a Get Social Smart Academy. It's a membership site where we work with thousands of agents on their social media. To be honest with you, a lot of times when I'm talking to agents in our academy about where they get business from social media, a huge portion, nearly 50% of the folks that we work with are getting business from social media through other agents, through referrals, through other agents that they meet at a convention like this, like at NAR or Inman, and they see, what they see, they interact with folks from different areas, which is really cool. So connecting with clients, prospects, other realtors as well. Be a good finder. I said this earlier, be a noticer, right? When you think about when you post something to social media, when you post something to Facebook, and when you see a couple likes, you see a comment, a like is one thing, a comment is something else, but a share is like the ultimate currency in social media. So be a good finder. Be on the lookout for people doing good things and share that, and then give some context. Hey, look at so-and-so. I just worked with them recently. They're doing some great stuff at their school or in their Rotary Club or in their church. It feels good, right, to be a good finder. And I can tell you right now, the moments where I'm like, gosh, my content's just not getting a lot of traction, the moment you start to shine the light on somebody else, it's a really powerful thing. And if anything, I know sometimes you get caught up in what to post and how often and reels and stories, and we'll get to all the content part in a minute and having a content plan, but be a good finder. Could you do that once or twice a week? Could you intentionally say, I'm going to be a good finder once or twice a week? Highlight others, like I said, whether you're highlighting someone through video, whether it's just sharing something on their page, whatever it might be. And then the 80-20 rule, right? I really feel with your personal profile, it should be 80% personal, 20% business. right? And so oftentimes I will post things that I'm doing business related to my personal profile. I just did it backstage. I said I'm about to go out on stage, and that's sort of quote unquote business related. So I posted it to my personal profile, and I also posted it to my business page, and that's fine. But we don't want to do that every single time, right? So having that balance between personal and business, I think, is key. And the truth is, when it comes to being a giver and highlighting other folks, I love this quote by Jim Rohn. This is a great thing to share if you're sharing anything on social media. Only by giving are you able to receive more than you already have. So being a giver. And one quick tip I'll give you when it comes to your personal profile, a big opportunity when we're going through our news feeds and you're thinking about being a good finder is leave meaningful comments. Leave meaningful comments. So meaningful comment in the world of social media is a comment that's at least 4 words. 4 words. So instead of saying, wow, great pic, congrats, you might say, wow, that's a great picture, Julie, where'd you take that? Or happy birthday, Joe, do you have anything fun planned for today? See how that feels a little different? You use their name, you ask a question. So we don't want to be a drive-by liker, right? We want to be intentional. I think one thing that'll never go out of style with Facebook is celebrating your clients, right? This is an oldie but goodie, and it was true 10 years ago, and I think it's even more true today. This is a picture of my husband and I 9 years ago when we bought our home. And I'll never forget this day. My teenage boys, who are now teenagers, were tiny little boys at the time. I remember them running through the house, opening all the closets. They were so excited. We finally had a backyard. And I remember getting our keys that day. I took my phone. I think it was like an iPhone 6 at the time, or 5, or whatever it was. I handed my phone to our realtor. She took our picture. I put it on Facebook. And this post to date has gotten more likes and more comments than just about anything I've ever shared on Facebook. And I think it goes back to the fact that, you know, buying or selling a home is still one of the biggest moments of someone's life. It's right up there with getting married or having kids, buying a home. And, you know, with the market, the way the market is right now, a lot of folks I know are having a challenging time. And it's tempting to go on Facebook and say, hey, closed another deal today, 2 more closed this week, 3 more in escrow. But what if we flip the script a little bit? What if instead we said, hey, I had an opportunity to work with an amazing family this week, and I can't wait to see what's next for them, right? It feels different. So we've got your personal profile. We're going to celebrate our clients. We're going to do the 80-20 rule. We're going to be intentional. We're not going to be a drive-by liker. The other part, before we get into business pages, are Facebook groups. And Facebook groups, I think, are still one of the best parts about Facebook. There's really no other place online to have a community like Facebook. So obviously there's all different types of Facebook groups. I'm sure a lot of you are part of Facebook groups. Do any of you manage your own Facebook group, maybe for your community or your neighborhood or your brokerage? Okay, a few hands. Okay. So when it comes to Facebook groups, I got a few things up on the screen here. I'm sure, how many of you are part of a Facebook group? Okay, that's a loaded question, right? Okay. So of course there's neighborhood groups, there's community groups. I've found if you're going to host a group, the more niche you can get, the better. Right? For example, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. I would not start a group that said, you know, San Francisco Bay Area. That would be just gigantic. The more you can niche into your specific market area, the better. The benefit of hosting a group is it's your group, your rules. It's like your house, your rules, right? And with a group, it's not necessarily the place to just spam everything that you're doing in business, but it's an opportunity to really build a community, to really build a conversation. So neighborhood groups, community groups we see have done really, really well. Of course, brokerages, I'm sure a lot of brokerages here have a private Facebook group for their agents. And one thing that we've seen that works really well is a lot of agents we've worked with have created VIP groups for their clients. We have one agent inside of our academy who at the end of a transaction, she'll say something like, hey, I'd love to invite you to my VIP Facebook group. It's a private group, it's just for my clients, and it's a great opportunity for you to meet some other folks in the community. It's a great networking opportunity. And for her, it's a great way to love on her people at scale. To love on her people at scale. So you don't necessarily need to be friends with every single person you work with. You might be friends with a lot of folks, you may not be friends with other folks. But being able to put them into a private group, now she's really able to love on them at scale. For example, at the holidays, she went to Starbucks, she bought a $100 Starbucks gift card, took a little picture of it, put it in the group, and said, hey, coffee's on me, right? So again, that's a private group, client-only group. We have a private group as well for our academy, and again, what we found is it's a great opportunity to build that community, to build that conversation. 3 quick tips when it comes to running a Facebook group. If you are thinking about running a Facebook group or you do have a Facebook group, one of the cool things that Facebook has really rolled out are some new bells and whistles when it comes to Facebook groups. One of the features I love is you can automatically welcome new members. So when new members join your group, you'll have a little thing that says, oh, you have 10 new members this week, 5 new members, 20, whatever it is, and you can hit a button and it'll create a post that says, welcome these new members to our group. What that does is it tags them. So it tags them in a post. You can write a nice custom message, and you can do that on the fly. You can also, there's actually a new tool in the backside of Facebook groups called Admin Assistant. And I've been playing around with it recently. It's actually pretty cool. You can set up automatic posts. So for example, I can set up a rule that says every time I have at least 5 new people join my group, I want an automated message, and this is what I want it to say. Right? Something really simple like, hey, welcome so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. Welcome to the group. Hey, please chime in. Leave a comment below. Introduce yourself. And that tiny little thing makes a big difference. How many times have you joined a group and then you kind of lurked for a while, right? So welcome new members, which is key. Also, number 2, you can schedule content. So there's actually a number of ways that you can schedule content. You can go into your Facebook group and schedule content, which we've done for a long time. I have 2 posts inside of our Facebook group that we regularly post every single week. I have a Saturday post that says, happy Saturday, what are you working on today? And it might seem like the most basic post, but I can't tell you, we've been posting that every Saturday for years. We get so much engagement. People will chime in, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this in my local community. And just, it's a great conversation starter. The other post that we do on a regular basis is called Wednesday Wins. I'll say, happy Wednesday, what's your win of the week? What's your win of the week? And it's a great opportunity for people to brag about what they're doing. So you can schedule that right within the group. In fact, there's actually 3 ways you can schedule it. You can schedule it right within the group. If you use Meta Business Suite, any of you use Meta Business Suite for scheduling content or looking at analytics, you can also schedule your groups in Meta Business Suite if you're already doing that. And then I mentioned Admin Assistant. It's not on the screen here, but Admin Assistant within your Facebook group, again, you can also schedule posts right within there, which is cool. The third thing you can do, especially if you have a public group, you probably wouldn't do this with your private VIP groups, but with your public groups, you can link your page to your group. So if you've got a group, about a specific community, specific neighborhood, you can link that over to your page. So when someone is on your Facebook page, they can see, oh, I could also join this group, okay? All right, so far so good? All right, awesome. So we've talked about your personal profile. We've talked about being intentional. We've talked about building relationships. We've talked about Facebook groups. Let's talk a little bit about your business page. For a lot of folks, I'm not going to make you raise your hand on this one, but your Facebook page has become a little bit of a Facebook graveyard. And like I said earlier, I get it. When it comes to Facebook, Facebook's changed a lot. I remember back in the day when Facebook groups were fan pages, right? And you could post something, you get a lot of traction, and it's hard to really kind of cut through right now. So what we have found are the folks who are getting traction from their Facebook business page, they're doing a couple things really, really well. Number 1, not surprising, they are being intentional, they're interacting. You can interact, of course, as yourself. You can also interact as your page. So when you go on Facebook and you search out your local Chamber of Commerce or your local parks or your local schools or your local Rotary clubs and you want to interact as your page, Facebook's made it pretty easy to do that, which is great. So obviously we don't want to spam, the local Rotary club and say, hey, I'm a realtor, call me today. But when you can add to the conversation, just like a Facebook group, you're going to add to that conversation, right? People see, oh, they're a realtor, right? We don't need to jump in and announce it. They can see it. So we engage, but the other big part to Facebook business pages right now, the good news is it's really about quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. I remember for quite some time with Facebook, we used to say, post multiple times a day, right? Whatever it was, 12 times a week. Or I don't think there's any magic formula, but it is about quality versus quantity. And not surprising, video. Video is a big part of that, which we'll dive into in just a second. I want to give you a few content ideas here. What we found in terms of what content tends to resonate the most with people, it really kind of falls into 5 big buckets. So the first, not surprising, is community, right? As I mentioned earlier, being a good finder, shining the light on others in your community, what's happening in your local community. I know one of the things I love most about realtors is you know your local community better than anybody. You know the best place to get a cup of coffee, the best place to get a glass of wine, the best place to go out to dinner. And what a great opportunity to feature those businesses, those local organizations, and things that are near and dear to your heart. We have a lot of folks who will do like a Saturday shout out or a featured Friday once a week or once a month and shine the light. Your process. Now I know a lot of agents don't want to share your entire secret sauce. You don't need to do that, but sharing a little bit of that behind the scenes of what it really takes to do what you do, that process, especially with stories. Right? A lot of you raised your hand that you're active on Instagram. Those of you active on Instagram probably are doing some Instagram stories. Well, Facebook stories are also really, really powerful. Surprisingly, also on your business page. I see a lot of agents who are posting to their stories on Facebook on their personal profile, which is fine, but you wouldn't believe how many folks I see watching my business page stories. And when you put out really helpful content about your area, about your community, about real estate, and you start to build a following that follows you, not only because they like you and they think you've got a good vibe, but they really follow you because you know what you're talking about, and they follow you for business, oftentimes you'll get just as much interaction on business type posts as you would if you posted a cat video, right? Because you're putting out helpful information. And when you can share the process, that behind the scenes, especially in stories, it's a really powerful thing. In fact, during this event, I would absolutely encourage you, if you haven't done this, to, throughout the event, take out your phone, hold it up, and share a little bit about not just, hey, I'm in Anaheim, but why, right? Why? So it's not just, hey, I'm here, I'm going to go to Disneyland, I'm here at the NAR convention, but why? You're here to help your clients. You're here to help take your business to the next level so you can serve your clients at a higher level. And so sharing that why, I think, is a huge thing. The third thing is myths. Boy, there's a lot of myths when it comes to real estate, right? And we know that the average consumer, they love HGTV. They love that a house can be bought or sold in just 44 minutes. That's amazing. But we know the reality, right? So we don't have to throw anybody under the bus, but it's one thing to think about are what are some of the common myths? And I would encourage you to think about what are those common myths, those things that your cousins and your friends and your neighbors ask you and you think, oh my gosh, that's such a myth. You can make a list of that. And that's a great piece of content. Stories. We really tend to resonate with stories. And I think sometimes with stories we think, oh, I haven't had a life or death experience. I didn't climb Mount Everest. It doesn't have to be that, right? It could just be an aha moment. It could be, what's the story of the home you grew up in? What's the story of why you got into real estate? What's the story of the last client you worked with? And stories can be a really powerful way to get people to lean in and listen to who you are and what you're all about. Those of you also active on Instagram or TikTok, story time, those are some of the most engaging pieces of content. So if you can have a balance between things that are promotional, your business, your listings, open houses, educational, tips, informative content, and also a little bit of stories, that's one of the ways to really, again, lean into who you are and who you're not. It's a way to be relatable. At the end of the day, we tend to do business with people we know, like, and trust and relate to. And then, of course, mistakes. Sometimes we don't want to admit our mistakes, but a little self-deprecating humor, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll tell you a funny story. I've recently, well, it wasn't actually not too recently, a little while ago, left my house. And I'm a busy mom. I left my house. And you ever get in your car and you think, wait a minute, did I forget something or something off? I looked down and I had 2 different pairs of shoes on. I thought, well, this is relatable. Okay, I'm like, this is a great piece of content. So I posted a picture and did a little poll. I was like, has this ever happened to anyone else? And I find that one of the best ways to be funny on social media, again, it's a little self-deprecating humor. I think for a lot of folks, we are kind of tired of the perfectly crafted, perfectly edited picture or piece of content, right? You ever look at someone's page and go, gosh, it just feels like everything's right in their life, right? So I often say, that's more of like a highlight reel versus really what's happening. So we don't have to share every single moment, but again, taking people behind the scenes, sharing our stories, processes, community. By the way, I do have a link on the screen, KatieLance.com/content-grid. If you're on your phone or your mobile device, or if you're watching virtually, feel free to go to that. I'm actually going to go to one more slide and show you what is on that link. This is something we created many years ago. We just updated it recently for 2023. So if you have an old version, or if you've never downloaded it, you can go to that link. It'll ask for your name and email, and then we'll send it to you. I promise not to spam you. But what this is a content grid. And what we found with content strategy is that it's so important to have a calendar, to have a plan, right? When you download this, what you'll see is about 30 different content ideas. And it's generic enough for just about any realtor. So we've got local real estate, national real estate, local community, personal interest, home and design. And to be honest, the way a lot of folks use this is they'll print it up, and when they're sitting down to create content, post content, schedule content, they've got ideas right in front of them. So when you download that, you'll get the full spreadsheet, and then there's also a blank template that you can use as well. In addition to having some content ideas like this, I am loving using ChatGPT for content ideas, specifically for Facebook. How many of you have used ChatGPT yet? Okay, awesome. So obviously there's a million and one things you could use ChatGPT for. What I have found that, especially for social media, is the more specific you can get, the better. So if you're looking for content ideas, if you're looking for video ideas and scripts, or you're looking for questions for a Facebook Live interview you're going to do, you're looking for ideas for reels or stories, you want to create a Facebook content plan, because the majority of the folks that you work with are on Facebook. When you're going into ChatGPT, you want to make sure that you ask for that specifically. So instead of saying, can you create a social media plan? Can you give me social media ideas? We want to say, can you give me ideas for Facebook Reels? Can you give me ideas for a Facebook Live I'm going to do with so-and-so who's a lender, and I need 5 questions, 5 compelling questions I can ask him during a Facebook Live. So being really specific. Also, Facebook or ChatGPT is great for rewriting content in other languages. I would note, however, only do this if you actually speak the language. Just because it could write it in French doesn't mean you speak French, okay? One of the things that's really interesting about ChatGPT, I want to just share 2 quick things because it's related to Facebook in many ways. ChatGPT grew in a huge way, right? Netflix took 3.5 years to get to 1 million users. Facebook, it took 10 months. And ChatGPT, it took 5 days, which is pretty crazy. To get to 100 million users, it took Netflix 10 years, Facebook 4.5 years, and ChatGPT 2.5 months. So not to distract us from our conversation around Facebook, but ChatGPT definitely is a great opportunity, especially when it comes to content ideas, specifically for Facebook. Okay, so let me give you a few tips for how to optimize your business page, especially in 2023. A couple of these things go without saying, but super important. Number 1, have an updated cover photo and have an updated pinned post. So that cover photo, that's a great piece of real estate, no pun intended, but we want to update that periodically. Quarterly, doesn't have to be every single week, but update that banner periodically. We love to use Canva. Any Canva users in the house? Yes, we love Canva. And I like to be consistent. So if you've got a banner on YouTube or a banner on LinkedIn or a banner anywhere else, be consistent, use Canva to resize it. Your pinned post. Some of you may or may not know this, but with Facebook, on your business page, you can take a post, hit a little button that says pin, and it'll actually bring it to the top of your page. Now, some of you actually have a feature where you can feature more than just one post. Facebook's been rolling this out for a while. Not all of you have this feature, but for some folks, at the very top of your business page, you can have up to 5 or 6 pinned posts up at the top. So if you've never done this before, it's kind of a cool thing. Like if you have a video about yourself or something you want to highlight, or maybe you've got a free buyer's guide or whatever it might be, you can click a little button that says pin it, and it'll pin it to the top. If you haven't checked your business page recently, I would check to see if you have something pinned from a long time ago. I was just on someone's Facebook page a few days ago, and their pinned post was about an open house from 3 years ago. So we want to make sure we update that. Again, quality over quantity, which I think is key. Integrate recorded video and Facebook Live. Are any of you also active on YouTube as well? Of course, carrying cards in the house. Yes, that was just for you. So if you're also active on YouTube, sharing your YouTube links over to Facebook. Look, there's always the debate. Should I upload directly to Facebook? Should I share this? Should I share that? I don't want to go down too much of the weeds when it comes to YouTube, since we're specifically talking about Facebook, but we share our YouTube links in Facebook. We also use Facebook stories to point to our YouTube videos as well. What's nice about Facebook stories and Instagram stories, you can add links directly to external sources, which is great, like YouTube. And what I found is, you're not necessarily going to get a ton of likes and interaction from doing that. But when I look at the back end of my analytics on YouTube, Facebook is still one of my top sources, which is kind of crazy, because if you were to go to my Facebook business page right now and look at the latest YouTube video I posted, it'd be like 1 like, 2 likes, but people are watching, which is cool. And sometimes people lurk, as we all know. Facebook Live, by the way, is still one of the top pieces of content on Facebook. Have any of you gone live on Facebook? Okay, a few hands. I know during the pandemic, probably a lot of folks went live. I will say the first time you go live, it's a little terrifying. Usually everyone has exactly the same experience. You've got your phone, there's a little button that says go live, you click like 3 buttons, and then you'll see a little countdown on your screen. It goes 3, 2, 1, you're live. And then there's this moment of, am I? Yeah, you're live. We can totally see you. So Facebook Live is still really powerful. We see a lot of agents and brokers who are doing a Facebook Live on their business page. It doesn't have to be every week, but once a month. Once a month is a great opportunity to do something timely, to talk about the market. Heck, everyone's talking about the market. Why not share your take on it, right? Posting your Facebook stories on a daily basis, posting your Facebook Reels on a weekly basis, and in a moment I'm going to share a few of my favorite Facebook Reels ideas as well. Not surprising when it comes to video. People spend 5 times more time watching video on Facebook than any other type of content, right? I also know when it comes to getting on camera, a lot of us don't like how we look, we don't like how we sound, we sure as heck don't want to do it, so we don't do it. And I'll never forget, I had a very, very dear friend of mine a few years ago who very lovingly reminded me, she was like, Katie, that's how you look. And that's how you sound, so you got to get over it. So I will lovingly tell you the same thing. Now, I have been doing video for quite some time, and before I had an iPhone, this was the camera that I had. Anyone remember the flip camera? I was telling my kids about this, anyways, I was telling my kids about this, and basically my boys said something like this. Back in my day, Mom, I'm like, I know, I had to hike 10 miles to school, and I had to use a flip camera. So things have changed a bit, right? And the good news is, with video, especially for Facebook, it's gotten easier than ever before. And the business reason for putting out video content, whether it's stories, Reels, Facebook Live, is to stand out in a sea of sameness, right? Stand out in a sea of sameness. I can't tell you how often I'll go to an agent or broker's Facebook page, and they'll say, hey, what do you think of my page? Do you have any ideas of ways I could improve it? And usually the number one thing I say is, you know what's missing on your page? You. I see your listings, I see that kind of generic stock photo post with the pumpkin and your logo. I see some sort of, article that you posted, but I have no idea what you sound like, or what you stand for, or what you're all about. And when it comes to getting on camera, the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's just like anything else. When you first got licensed, you were licensed, but you probably didn't know what the heck you were doing. Right? And it's the same thing just like anything else. I said a second ago, and I'll say this again, Facebook Live is still the #1 piece of content on Facebook in terms of engagement. I'm going to give you a couple examples here in just a minute. What's great about Facebook Live is, of course, it's free. In addition to just using Facebook Live, you can also use additional tools. These are paid tools. My 2 favorite are at the top of the screen, Zoom and Be Live. First of all, we all know how to use Zoom, right? If you have the paid version of Zoom, there's also a button that says Go Live, which I have almost accidentally hit probably 65 times because it's right next to the record button in Zoom. Like, no, I don't want to go live, but you can go live. Zoom and Be Live are fantastic if you want to have a guest on your Facebook Live, right? You want to, like we talked about earlier, being a good finder, reaching out to local businesses. Doing that Zoom, highlighting other folks. I'm looking in the back of the room, my good friend Eddie Campos, who's been part of our academy for a long time. I know during the pandemic and now does a ton of Facebook Lives and interviews, whether it's Facebook Live or just a recorded interview using Zoom and being able to highlight someone, like the fire chief or the mayor. And that's how you build some great relationships in your business. StreamYard, Ecamm, those are also great tools as well to go live on Facebook. Now, by the way, on a side note, when it comes to Facebook Live, as much as I love social media, guess what? Social media is rented ground. We don't own it. And I know a lot of us have sort of realized that the hard way, right? We log into Facebook and we get that spinning wheel of death. Wait, is it me? Is it my Wi-Fi? No, Facebook is down. And so what I would encourage you to do for any platform is make sure your content doesn't just live on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever we're talking about. So for a Facebook Live, I always download our Facebook Lives. We will often repurpose them. We'll put them up on YouTube. We might take the audio out, put it in our podcast, but save that content. In terms of going live on Facebook, I've got a couple quick tips because, the first time you go live on Facebook, like I said, you not only will you not even realize you're live, you'll have nobody watching. And you'll go, do I start talking? Yes. Start talking right away. So a couple quick things, promote ahead of time. If you're going to do a monthly Facebook Live or even weekly, tell people about it ahead of time. Send an email to your database, post about it on Facebook, use your other social media channels. I will often go on Instagram stories and say, hey, I'm going to be live, tomorrow talking about this. Here's where you can find me. So promote it ahead of time. Start right away. Wouldn't you agree? There's nothing worse than seeing someone live and they're like, let's just wait till more people show up, right? We just want to get into it. So start right away, engage your audience. Oftentimes when I do a Facebook Live, I'll say, hey, everyone, I'm so-and-so, we're going to talk about this. Hey, as you guys are coming in, like and comment below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know that you can hear me okay. And then I'm going to call people out by name. Hey, Susie. Hey, Bob. Hey, Joe. When people hear their name, their ears perk up. right? So engage people right away. I'll often say, hey, if you watch this later on the replay, comment below, let me know that you watched the replay, because oftentimes more people watch the replay than watch it live. Promote the replay afterwards. So once you've got that piece of content, just like you promoted it ahead of time, you're going to promote it afterwards. You're going to send an email to your database. You're going to promote it 3 or 4 days later on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on wherever else that you are spending time. Hey, if you missed the Facebook Live where we highlighted so-and-so, here's the replay. And again, download and repurpose. I've got a screenshot here from a Facebook Live. I do a special Facebook Live every year publicly. I do a lot privately inside of our Get Social Smart Academy group, but I do a few public, and this is one that we did last year. It's called Katie's Favorite Things. I know it's a little bit of an Oprah ripoff, but I do little favorite things broadcast every year. I'm doing another one in a few weeks. It's like one of my favorite Facebook Lives. I don't know if any of you have seen it. Super fun. I sit in front of the tree and always wait for my cats to walk in front of my camera, and we talk about things that I love. So it could be favorite apps, favorite tools, but I also love to share favorite travel tips or favorite wines or favorite coffees or whatever is favorite books. And this particular one, this last year, we had over 675 comments organically. I didn't boost it, I didn't run an ad, and I don't know about you, but I can't remember the last time I had 600 comments on anything unless it was like a baby photo, right? So great way to get engagement, great way to build that engagement. And guess what? When people start to engage with your Facebook Live, they start to see other content that you're posting on your Facebook business page. Okay, I promised some Reels ideas, because Facebook Reels, I think sometimes are kind of overlooked, right? TikTok gets a lot of attention. Everyone's talking about Instagram Reels. Well, Facebook Reels, big opportunity. How many of you are already creating TikTok content? Raise your hand. Okay, 3 people, awesome. How about Instagram Reels? How many? Okay, cool. YouTube Shorts, we'll throw that in the mix. A couple people, okay. If you are in the camp of you're already creating content, one of the easiest things you could do is also put it on Facebook Reels, right? Some stuff will do really well, some stuff won't do as well. It's always the things you think, oh, this is gonna be amazing, doesn't do well, right? But Facebook Reels, big opportunity. Facebook Reels are permanent versus Facebook Stories, which are here today, gone in 24 hours. And I've got a few ideas on the screen here. Tips for first-time home buyers, common misconceptions or myths, tips for investors, how do you know when it's a good time to buy or sell, questions to ask your lender, highlighting local leaders or industry experts, real estate Q&A. Now you'll notice these topics are not particularly sexy, but they are evergreen, they are timeless. And one of the best things that you can do when it comes to video content is really start to think about, is there some content that you could create that is timeless or evergreen? You know those, when you get asked questions and you think to yourself, if I could ask this one more time, that's a great piece of content. That could be a great reel. And the beauty of that is now, for example, now in November, I look back to some of the reels I posted in February and March and April, and guess what? I can repost those, I can re-upload those, I can reshare those. Because even the people who love you the most, even your biggest fans and your biggest friends and family, they do not see everything. Trust me. I was chatting with my dad recently, and we were talking about video content, and I was saying how, yeah, Dad, every Wednesday I have a new video that goes up on YouTube. He's like, you do? How long have you been doing this? I'm like, 8 years. So it's all good. I don't take it personally. But here's a few ideas. I want to give you a few tips for short form content. This is going to be relevant for anywhere you're doing short form video. 5 quick things. Be quick. We got to get right into it. When you first start doing short form video, it's really easy to kind of take your time, depending on your personality. Oftentimes I see agents who kind of go, hey everyone, I'm so-and-so, and today we're going to talk about, look, I have already scrolled past you, right? It used to be you had like 10 seconds to grab someone's attention. Now you have like 1. So we want to get right into it, and I'll give you a quick tip. With video, especially Reels, and especially with Facebook Reels, tell people what the video is all about right out of the gate. Some people call it a hook. Just, what's the video about? Hey, today I'm going to share the 5 biggest things that I love about living in San Diego. And then you can say who you are. Hey, I'm Katie Lance, I'm a local realtor, and then you get right into it. Okay, so be quick. You can also trim out the pause, right? There's such a thing as people have been calling it like the millennial pause or the boomer pause or the Gen X pause. It's that pause where we look at our camera, and we all do this, well, except for probably Gen Z. We look at the camera and we do that like look down when we're trying to like hit the record, and then we look back up and smile, da-da-da-da-da-da, right? So trim that out. Same thing at the very end when we're like, okay, thanks, and then we look down. So in your video, you don't even need an app for this. Just open up whatever camera you have, whatever phone you have. You can just go to that video. There's an edit button. When you click edit, inside your camera roll on that video, you'll see a little slider along the bottom, and you can just move the slider in, just move it in like half second, and then move it in like right in the beginning. You gotta make the noise too. Okay, you just move it in, and that little tiny thing, honestly, it sounds silly, it does make a big difference. So try not to pause, have a hook, which is basically just get right into it. The easiest thing I like to do when it comes to a hook is just like, what am I gonna talk about? Why should people stay tuned? Captions and hashtags, we want to make our content accessible, right? So adding captions, super easy to do with Facebook. There's a button that says captions. Would you like captions? Yes, turn captions on. 80% of us don't listen to a video when we're actually watching video. There's some of you watching video right now as I'm saying this. So caption your video. And hashtags. I will say with Facebook, hashtags are not as important. You know, hashtags really, I think, make a bigger difference on Instagram and TikTok. But a couple hashtags, use 2 or 3 for Facebook. Hashtags really are, I would say, especially with Facebook, they help you in sort of a geolocation area, right? If you are doing a video and it's about Savannah, Georgia, or Manhattan, or Austin, Texas, like using a couple hashtags, that can help. But it's not just hashtags, it's what you're saying in the video, it's what the caption is, things like that. Okay, I want to give you a few examples of short form video that you can use for Facebook, but also other platforms. The first one I love is to tell the story of tell a story or a milestone. And what's fantastic about this is you don't need to create anything from scratch. You already have the content. It's already on your phone. You can include pics or videos. And one of my favorite apps, this is an oldie but goodie, it's called the 1 Second Everyday app. It's free. I love it. What this app does is when you go into your camera roll, when you open up this app, it'll go into your camera roll and you pick a time frame. You say, I want to create a video about the month of October, or I want to create a video about the last quarter, or I want to create a video about the last year. And it'll go in your camera roll, and then you just pick the clips that you want. You pick the videos, or you pick the pictures, and then it puts it all together for you. So I'm gonna play this really quick. This is a quick video we did at the end of last year. Note, when you watch this, just look at the dates at the very bottom. Okay, we're gonna watch this really quick, and then we'll talk about it. All right, that was my life in 2022 in 1 minute. So that was a lot of fun to create. You don't necessarily have to do a year-long montage. I've been doing that the last few years. It is really fun, a little New Year's activity to, pull some fun clips. Any of you, did anything stand out? I knew that thing flew by really quick. Any common themes that you saw? Cats. Yes, and now we have 2 cats, so you might see more in the 2023 recap video. Yes, cats, kids. Again, a little bit of wine, a lot of coffee cups. So really fun. This is also great, especially for real estate, if you're trying to highlight a season in your life. Maybe you had a big decision, you moved to a new brokerage. Maybe you've been working with a client for the last 3 months. Like we talked about stories earlier. Sometimes stories can also just be visual. They don't have to be, I have a story I want to tell you, right? So love this one. The second type of video that is performing really, really well right now, especially on Facebook, is a green screen video. And what's great about this is inside of Facebook, there's a little button when you're creating a reel that says green screen, and you could add something behind you. Remember back in the day, you'd have to buy those big pop-up green screen things and put it behind you, and those still work. But the beautiful part about this is when you're in Facebook Reels, there's literally a button that says green screen, and you can have something behind you. And I find that this works specifically well if you are creating a piece of content that's really timely. So I love it for industry news. I'm going to play this for just a second, just so you can see how it works. I'm not going to play the whole video. This is a video I did talking about something that happened with Facebook, and so I'm just going to play it for a second, and then I'll talk about it. Is it over for real estate agents to post their listings on Facebook? Let me give you what's going on. So you may have had okay, let's go back for that. Okay, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. Yes, you can post your listings on Facebook, by the way. So with that video, you saw something behind me. That was an article from Facebook. I'm in the business of social media, so a lot of my content, not surprising, is about social media. You're in the business of real estate, but you're reading stuff all the time, right? You're reading articles from NAR, you're reading stuff from Inman, your local association. There's no shortage of articles that you're reading. And some stuff you probably totally agree with, and some stuff you don't, right? And the fact of the matter is people are asking you, hey, what about this, what about that? They're asking about the market. This is a really great opportunity to take a screenshot of that article. Maybe you read something in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, NAR, and you can have it behind you and say, hey, this just came out from NAR, and let me tell you what this means here in Dallas. Let me tell you what this means here in Anaheim, right? And so now you're not plagiarizing the information, but you're referencing something behind you, and then you're adding in your own 2 cents. And then one of the best things that you can do in this video is say, hey, if you'd like a copy of this article, if you'd like me to send you the link, like and comment below. Like and comment below. I did this with this particular video about an update that Facebook rolled out. I can't tell you how many people said, yeah, I'd like the link. Yeah, I'd like the link. Now, of course, it'd be better if I was sending them to my site, but that's okay. The whole point is I want engagement, right? That interaction is key. So creating a green screen video, again, great for industry news. Another type of video that I love is that you don't always have to be on camera, right? Being on camera is helpful. You don't always have to be on camera. There's something within the world of video called B-roll, which probably some of you are familiar with. B-roll is basically video that is supporting what you're talking about. So this is a video I did about summer. I wasn't on video saying, hey, it's summer, but I took some clips of some of my vacation and put it together into a quick little video. Let me show this real quick. It's like 5 seconds. That's the other thing about video. It doesn't have to be long, right? And it was basically 4 little video clips with a piece of music. I didn't even write text over the screen. That little thing that says summer vibes, that's a GIF or a GIF, however you say it. So recording B-roll, and something to think about is as you're out and about, right? Even here at the conference, I'm sure a lot of you are taking pictures. Also take a few little clips. I was downstairs checking in for registration. I took a few pictures of registration. I also took my phone and did a 10-second, let's imagine my phone's in my hand. Let's do a 10-second, I did a 10-second slow pan, just showing registration. I did the same thing down in the expo hall, just a little 5-10 seconds showing what it's like. And so the benefit of those little clips is later on, tonight, I can put some of those clips together, make a little reel, and showcase my experience at NAR. And the power of music, right? The power of a good song is key. So adding music, add text. You can do a lot of editing right within Facebook. There's also another app called Video Leap or CapCut. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with either one of those. They have some great templates to create content quickly and easily. And really, at the end of the day, when it comes to Facebook or any type of content, it's about being intentional, right? Being intentional. I always say stop the random acts of social media. And if you're sharing anything on social media, share that. Stop the random acts of social media. Another tip I'll give you when it comes to video content, especially on Facebook, is something called the walk and talk. Now, I'm a huge West Wing fan. I know it was a show that came out in the 90s, and I never watched it back then, but during COVID, I watched the whole series 3 times, which is crazy because it's 7 seasons, 22 episodes per season. There's always like 2 or 3 West Wing fans, so awesome. So one of the things West Wing is really known for is this walk and talk, right? Where there's like these long monologues where they're walking and talking. Of course, they got to add some music, right? All right, I won't dance for you or anything, but the walk and talk is a really easy way to create content. You don't just have to be sitting at your desk with the camera out, right? Oftentimes, if you follow me on social media, I have a lot of videos where I'm literally outside in my backyard walking and talking. And because sometimes we just, for those of you, especially when you're on the phone, any of you when you're on the phone, you like to get up and walk, right? If that's you, you probably will like the walk and talk. And it's very simple. It's like, hey, I'm going to talk about blah, blah, blah. And I get right into it. I share a couple tips, and I'm literally kind of going back and forth. And I'm going to play just a clip just so you can see this really fast. Watch just how I'm walking, and then look at the captions underneath also. So you're posting stuff, and you're not getting comments. It's like crickets. Okay, what are you posting? Yeah, seriously. I'm literally just making laps. Are you doing some video content? Or are you just posting? All right, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so again, simple. You're literally walking and talking. You can do it all in one take, or you can go, hey, today I'm going to share blah, blah, blah. Stop, turn. Hey, and then you can do in little clips if you want, or you can record all in one shot. You might have noticed along the bottom there was colorful captions. There's a great tool called captions.ai to add colorful captions, which is a really fun app. You can use that, of course, not just for Facebook, but any of your short form video. Okay, I know I'm talking fast. I had a lot of caffeine this morning, so I'm fired up. All right, so we've talked about being intentional. We've talked about your personal profile, groups, business pages, not being a drive-by liker. We've talked about video ideas. A few more things. I've got about 10 more minutes. Think beyond the now. Think beyond the now. So when we think of content, I don't mean set it and forget it. I don't mean hit a button and have everything, automatically post. I also don't think that you should necessarily sign up for those services where things are just automatically posting for you. It sounds great in theory, but again, Facebook's changed a lot. That worked a few years ago, and it doesn't necessarily work today because social media is social, right? And so getting on camera, showing who you are, showing your personality, leaning into who you are and who you're not. And guess what? When you do that, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. In fact, I have a good friend of mine, Katie Clancy, who's a realtor out in Cape Cod, and she always says, look, I may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I know I'm somebody's shot of tequila. I love that, right? So think beyond the now. All right, I want to share a few of my favorite apps and tools here. And by the way, I have a little QR code up there. I know we all love QR codes. Would it be helpful to get a copy of my slides today? Okay, awesome. So if you scan that, that's going to take you to a page to get you slides and also some additional links. If for some reason that does not work, because technology, I will share my contact info at the very end. And so you can always get it that way as well. But some of my favorite apps, and by the way, with my slides, I also have another talk later today. I'm giving a talk about how to map out your 12-month social media plan. So when you get an email from me with these slides, you'll also get those slides also. So little bonus. I would love to see you in that class later also. I believe that's at 3. But okay, so apps and tools. I've got a few of my favorite apps here. Dropbox is great. I'm sure a lot of you use Dropbox for other uses, not just social media. Social media is rented ground, so when it comes to video content, we store all of our video content inside Dropbox. It makes it really easy for me to send videos to our video editor to keep track of when we're posting what, so on and so forth. Google Sheets. I'm going to talk more about this later today in my class about how to map out your plan, but Google Sheets is free. It's also one of the easiest ways to create an editorial calendar. When it comes to mapping out a plan, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or any platform, you've got to have a plan. I did a story this morning, it was either this morning or last night, and I jokingly said, can you imagine Good Morning America, the anchors coming out and saying, what are we going to talk about today? I don't know. So we've got to have a plan, right? And Google Sheets is an easy way to get organized of where you're going to post and when and content, so on and so forth. Video Shop app, this is one of my favorite apps for video editing. You can do voiceover videos, you can speed up your videos, you can trim your videos. It's a great app. Canva, I know a lot of hands went up when I said how many of you love Canva. Canva's amazing. There's also some great tools, especially if you're a Canva Pro user. And by the way, I'm not affiliated with any of these tools. I don't get a kickback or anything. I just love them. I think they're great. Canva is great for a lot of different reasons. They have a scheduling tool right within Canva. Like I said, a lot of the AI tools are fantastic. I love that you can resize graphics and videos. If you're a pro user, you can remove backgrounds from things, backgrounds from videos, backgrounds from images, and it's fantastic. And then repurpose.io. I asked a few of you, or asked the audience a few minutes ago, how many of you are also posting to TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. Repurpose.io is a paid tool. I believe they have like a 7 or 14-day trial. And what's really fantastic about that is you can set up workflows. I keep calling them recipes. I know they're not recipes, but it's like a recipe. It's like a workflow where basically you go into repurpose.io and you say, okay, every time I post a Facebook reel, I also want it to simultaneously post to TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, whatever you want it to automatically post to. So I've been playing around with that for about a year. It's a really great platform. You can set things up automatically, or you can set them up where you manually push something to go to another platform. The nice part about repurpose.io is once you start using it, your videos appear in their dashboard. And so what I mean by that is if I were to go into my repurpose.io account right now and look at all the videos I posted to Facebook, it would show me all my videos from this year, and with a couple clicks of a button, I could republish that video. So I wouldn't have to download it and re-upload it and rewrite a caption. I could just click it. It would show me my old caption, and I could edit it. I could post it right away, or I could even schedule it to go out at another time. So really just a great way to work smarter, not harder, which is what I'm all about, right? It's all about working smarter, not harder. I've got a couple little other recommendations I want to share with you. This is an oldie but goodie. Any of you read this book? Yes, Who Moved My Cheese? This came out probably 30 years ago. It's a fantastic reread, especially right now, as a lot of things have changed for a lot of folks. It's a little parable about a small little mouse whose cheese got moved. And boy, haven't we all had our cheese moved. right? Great opportunity, great reread, and especially just in the world of social media, right? Things have changed, and when we think about Facebook, when we think about any platform, it's all about embracing change. A couple last things I want to share. I don't know who needs to hear this one, but done is better than perfect. I know it's really easy to come to an event like this. We get fired up, we go to a lot of sessions, and then we get home and go, well, I'm really busy. I've been away all week at NAR. And I just would encourage you to not suffer from analysis paralysis. Take one or two things that you learned, implement them right away, and the moment when you start doing some of these things, whether it's the walk and talk, or you're trying some of those apps out, and maybe you're getting on camera for the 100th time or the first time, I want you to resist the urge to re-record 27 times. And just remember that, done is better than perfect. If you really look at some of the stuff we talked about today, the good news is the opportunity is wide open, right? Even though Facebook has been around for a long time, the opportunity is wide open. So many of the agents in your area aren't doing what we're talking about today, right? Or they're doing one thing here, and then they get busy. So getting a plan, getting a strategy, being intentional, that's the name of the game. Last two things I want to share. I mentioned that I would share that QR code and also that link. Again, if you scan this with your phone, that's going to take you to a page. It's going to ask for your name and email. We will send you my slides for everything we talked about today with Facebook, as well as my slides for later on how to map out your 2024. I can't believe it's almost 2024. Oh my God, this plan. So it's katielance.com/NAR. It is case sensitive, so you have to put NAR all in caps. And if for some reason, if the link or the QR code doesn't work, you can go to my email. So just email me. It's not my first rodeo. So just go to katie@katielance.com, send me an email, say, hey, I was in your class, send me the slides. I won't send them right now, so give me an hour, but we'll get them over to you. Last but not least, of course, feedback is, of course, really important. I'm sure every speaker is saying this, but I am so thankful and grateful for the committee, to NAR, for inviting me back. It is always an honor and a pleasure, and I know one of the things that they look at is your feedback. So if this was helpful, if you enjoyed it, go into the app. I believe right where the app is, you can put your feedback right there. We are right to the end, so I know there's a few questions probably in the chat. I'm going to hop into that chat this afternoon, and I will answer any questions you guys have. I'll also stick around if you want a selfie or a high five, or you want to chat in person. I will be here for that. Thank you so much.